Back to IGN's E3 2021 Nintendo Direct post-show. We saw the Treehouse, the Direct. E3's been going on for a while, so it might sound like I'm stringing my words together, but there's actually even more E3 to come, because in just a few minutes, the Bandai Namco showcase kicks off, and then on Thursday, join us again for the Xbox Extended Game Showcase and the Podcast Unlocked post-show. If you missed any of this, literally any of it, you can catch up on all of it on IGN.com, on IGN's YouTube channel, across social media, even on your smart TVs, and you'll find even more content on E3's online portal featuring articles, videos, and more. We've got news, previews, trailers, gameplay breakdowns, interviews, surprises. There's so much E3. Here to say more about E3 and Nintendo specifically are my bestest friends, Casey, Zach, Joe. Hey, what's up, everyone?
It's so nice of you, Brian, to call us your bestest friends.
Well, just for now. That might change at any given moment, because and it's called WarioWare Get It Together, and it has co-op. I'm so happy this game is returning. Casey, let's start with you. WarioWare.
Man,
how do you feel about it?
I love WarioWare. I might have very fond memories about playing this on the DS in class. Totally. Shouldn't be this excited about it, but 9V is the character whose mini games, or micro games as we say, are all based off classic Nintendo games. And I saw in the back as they're scrolling through Claude from. So we're gonna have a Tea Party micro game, and that's all I need.
I noticed that they did a micro game based on, like, with the brand new Animal Crossing graphics.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe 9V's inclusion is less about classic games. Yeah, we can't just. Okay, there's a mini game where you can tweeze chest hair off of a man statue, which is just amazing.
Get it together, Brian.
Get it together. Joe, this is out September 10th. I feel like that's a good time for this game, right? Like, it's not competing against a ton of stuff. It's also $50. Are you excited about the return of WarioWare as much as I am?
100%. Like, so I played a lot of the one on GBA. To the point where I left it out in the sun, the battery started leaking acid, and I would continue to play that game. It's just one of my favorite Nintendo series, and I thought it was a really good marker of this show in particular. Like, they seem to be showing some love to series that we haven't seen for a long time, like WarioWare. We're going to get onto Advance Wars. Like, some of these kind of classic, for want of a better term, B-tier franchises from Nintendo are getting another push, and I'm so excited to see this, and not like a Game & Wario Wii U take on this, like a real new micro game WarioWare game. I couldn't be happier that this is coming.
Zach, you and I did a small show together called Link Together. We played Breath of the Wild co-op style. This game has dedicated co-op. Should we do it? Should we play it together?
I'm gonna say no, because I value our friendship, and I think, like, the idea of trying to play these these mini games, micro games, across one controller, let alone like the co-op of it, would be so infuriating. But fun. Like, I love WarioWare so much. I'm so glad that there's a new one for Switch. I think a lot of us have been asking for WarioWare to come back, or at least make its way to the Switch for a long time. So it's awesome that it's finally here, and it's coming so soon. September is, only a couple months away at this point, and I completely agree with Joe. This whole showcase was really amazing for showing off some of the franchises that are maybe like lesser known or lesser beloved. I see a lot of people tweeting about how, like, hey, this presentation, cliche as it is, it really did have a little bit of something for everyone. Like, there is, if you love a Nintendo franchise, there's something here for you. And, like, this one specifically spoke to me because I freaking love WarioWare, man.
I wanted to talk about another franchise we saw return today. Advance Wars is coming back. Reboot Camp is out December 3rd. It's a remake of the first two games. We just found out that that's being done by WayForward, who are immensely talented and been doing awesome stuff with and for Nintendo for a very long time now. Advance Wars Reboot Camp is basically the first two GBA games with a brand new art style. How are we feeling about this one? Zach, I'll start with you.
So freaking pumped. I love Advance Wars. Advance Wars, longtime NVC listeners and fans will know that Advance Wars and Advance Wars and F-Zero are the two franchises that Pear and I are constantly going back and forth about. Like, where's Advance Wars? Where's F-Zero? Has Nintendo completely forgotten about these? So it's so awesome to see these, even just remakes, reimaginings of the original ones, because it at least gives us an idea that, like, Nintendo still has these around. Like, they still are thinking about these franchises. And honestly, these first 2 games are phenomenal. And this is a great opportunity to reintroduce this franchise to a whole new generation of gamers, a whole new generation of potential fans. I think that the big thing here is this art style. Like, I'm seeing a lot of chatter about, the pixel art was perfect, that people not particularly loving the way that this looks. I'm fine with it. I think it looks awesome. I love the toyetic design. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Link's Awakening remake. So like I'm super into this, and I can't wait. It's tough because this year I made a resolution. I said I was not going to replay any games that I've previously played. I was only going to focus on playing new games. But I'll definitely make an exception for these 2 games because these are bangers.
One last thing I wanted to talk about was Tekken and Smash Brothers together at last. Kazuya has been added to the roster. He killed Kirby. Ganon was murdered. There was a lot going on there. One of the 2 Smash Brothers drops we're going to get for characters. We're at the very tail end of that very long game development cycle. Smash Brothers is almost done. Casey, real quick, are you excited for this one?
I liked the art, and also Kirby did not get killed because Kirby is indestructible. He's the final survivor in the original Ultimate trailer, and he survived and got away scot-free from Kazuya as well.
All
It's
right.
up to him to save everyone from Kazuya.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have all survived throwing off the cliff that is E3, but there's just a little bit left. I want to thank my Nintendo friends here, or my Super Nintendos, for rocking with us. Coming up next, we have the Bandai Namco E3 presentation, so let's see what else the studio behind Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and Boruto have in store for E3. Or we can keep hanging out. I'm down with that.
Yeah, are we still up? Are we still up and running?
All right.
Because
no.
there we go.
There it is.
Bye.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Ya inició. Por ahí quedaron callados todos enseguida.
Boruto have in store for E3.
Satellite sweeps of the war zone have uncovered what appears to be an underground storage facility. But I strongly suspect it's where chemical weapons are hidden, so we need to move fast.
Ready to go, Dark.
To descend into the unknown alone is extremely brave.
Man out, hold fire.
Or extremely foolish.
We're gonna sigh out this shit.
Brothers in arms, or will it be a case of each man for himself?
Down, get down! We're on the race! Return
No es terror que tengo por ahí.
You teeter on the edge of an abyss. Your survival depends on the choices you make. They will be as a compass, guiding you through the unknown.
Oh God, greener the blue line.
What nightmare have these luckless souls fallen into?
You keep lookout.
Look out for what?
One by one, their lights will be snuffed out. Unless you can find the means to save them. Trapped beneath the earth, swallowed by the void. Will you find the path to salvation? Or be lost in the darkness forever?
We're here at Supermassive to talk about the next game in the Dark Pictures anthology, House of Ashes. I'm joined by exec producer Dan. How you doing?
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Right, so let's start at the very start. We're going to be talking about House of Ashes for most of the interview, but for those that don't know, tell us about the Dark Pictures anthology.
The Dark Pictures is a series of narrative, story-driven, branching horror stories. Each one is standalone. They each tell a different story, completely separated from the others, but within the same universe, so there is connection between them. House of Ashes is set at the end of the Iraq War in 2003, with links 4,000 years ago that set the story up.
So tell us more about the theme and themes, I suppose, within House of Ashes.
It starts off with a military unit. They've got some new technology that can look for weapons of mass destruction underground. They think they've identified something in the Zagros Mountains in Iraq, And then as part of that, they come into conflict with an Iraqi unit, there's a pitched firefight, and then the two groups are plunged underground. There's an earthquake of some sort, and it's revealed that there's a hidden temple underground, these big massive structures, but these different groups, they're all separated, radio contact is lost, and they're submerged in this black darkness.
Where on God's green earth have we landed?
And then they're going to start hearing things and seeing things, and people are going to start disappearing.
What the f just happened?
So this time, it's a very real threat.
All of the Dark Pictures games, they all pull something from real life or from history, from fact. What's the case with the myth or historical part of House of Ashes?
So we love looking at and reading myths and legends and stories and doing our research, and we know our fans love it as well because there's something that they can link into afterwards, and I love doing that when I'm playing games or watching movies myself. So this one's set 4,000 years ago, the Akkadian Empire, and this terrible evil that happened. We had this self-proclaimed god king, Naram Sin, and he essentially cursed his people. He sacked this temple and brought famine and devastation to his own people. And so a lot of the history is lost, but we've done a lot of research about it, and then we had a lot of happy accidents that linked into the story we wanted to tell. And the fun thing for us is we get to do our own take on it. We get to twist it, and obviously we've made our own truth from it.
At the end of the sneak peek, the trailer, we saw monsters. Tell us a bit more about what's going on there.
The military unit that you're playing as, they don't really know what they're coming up against. They're not human, they're bigger, they're larger, they're faster. The team aren't going to know if there's one or two of them, or hundreds or thousands of them. And that's kind of the threat with this, you know. They've got guns, maybe they could try and take one of them down. But maybe there's another one around the corner, or maybe there's a group of them, and maybe they're going to get ambushed.
Maybe they're like a cluster.
Exactly,
and
yeah,
they'll pop
a
out
nest,
once.
as it were.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to work on and see these things move around and how horrific they can be. They're different to us, they perceive the world in a different way. Getting little snippets of it in the darkness, and was that, did I see that? Was it something that moved? Or is it actually just one of the other soldiers that's stuck in the catacomb?
Who's there?
We like to try and misdirect people on things, you know, that did you see something, did you not? And that's a great thing within horror, that you think you're going to be scared right now. And we're not going to scare you now, we'll scare you in a minute when you're not expecting it.
It's always coming.
Yeah, always.
So should we expect a huge amount of peril in the game?
Definitely. We love to do it. You know, it's fun for us to work on. It's horrific as it is, and we know that our fans love it as well. So yeah, there's at least 60 unique devs, and there's a whole ton of variation.
Estas conferencias son lo malo, ya hemos
No,
hablado
some of the others, you're
miércoles
going to see different things happening to them, depending on how you play it out, you know, getting ripped and shredded and torn. And because there's a firefight, there's going to be bullets flying as well, and all kinds of stuff. And it's not just the deaths, it's the gore that goes along with it, and you know, lots of blood.
Wicked. It sounds absolutely terrifying. I'm in.
Not gonna lie, man. It's pretty bad.
What differences have you made or changes have you made to the gameplay and mechanics for House of Ashes?
We were always evolving the Dark Pictures. We listened to a lot of the feedback from our fans and also our team, what they want to do, how they want to push things forward. So we tried some stuff in Little Hope with more camera control, 360 cameras at certain parts, and we've really leaned on that again, and it really works well. In House of Ashes, lots of the game is set underground, and so these sort of corridors, which are really tight and oppressive.
Creepy.
Yeah, indeed. So we've had to learn, because you take away the fixed cameras, and that takes away some opportunities for horror. But we've had to learn new tricks to scare people and, you know, ramp up the tension and you know, the chance for jump scares, which we know some people love. We've also got a new torch mechanic, so you know, it's military themed. So these guys are going to be walking around with weapons, with torches mounted on them. We love the lighting that we do, the sort of really inky black darkness that we have, and sort of the contrast to the bright areas. And so you're going to need to lean on that torch to allow you to see where you're going, what the threat is, and that kind of stuff. We've also done things like added difficulty settings to this game. So in Little Hope we added you know, QTE warning icons as an example, and we've got some really good positive feedback about that, but also some people want to turn that off. We want to allow you to play the game in your way. So with our accessibility settings and difficulty settings, if you want to have a more casual experience, you can change those settings. Still, most of your characters are going to end up dead, but you know, that's
Spoilers, yeah,
indeed.
but that's what we come here for. That's okay, we can deal with it. So I've got to ask, what was it like working with Ashley?
So Ashley was fantastic. She researched Rachel, she understood her when she came on the set, which is so refreshing. She knew her inside out. And Rachel is a flawed character, so she brought that through so fantastically. The rest of the cast were fantastic as well.
When we were looking for Joe here, Salim helped me. You didn't tell me this because...
You'd flip your shit.
We want you to connect to these characters and understand them as humans. We want them to seem real because they're real to us. You know, we spend a long time designing them, and I don't mind if you hate any one individual character because you don't like everyone in real life. But maybe you'll like them when you see the journey they go on.
Maybe you'll like them once they're dead and you feel bad about it.
and you feel bad about it, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, we want you to save them. We want you to try and save them. You know, we know that some people want to get everyone killed straight away, and that's fine. That's their playthrough. That's what they want to do. But you know, can you get everyone out alive and save as many as you can?
There's a lot of replayability there.
Indeed,
Goes on
yeah.
forever. I like that. So, last question. Favourite scene?
Favourite scenes? So, Salim, our Iraqi soldier, and Jason Kolchak, one of the Marines that's there. There's a way that can play out and a sort of contest between them, and you can make it go in a number of different ways.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's really emotional. Seeing them film it, I was lucky enough to be there, and then seeing that come through in game, I think we've got something there. I think that's gold. And then, of course, I love scaring people, so I love the jump scares. I love the moments of tension that we bring. We can't hold you in that moment, so we've got some fantastic jokes in there as well to allow you to relax for a moment before we scare you again.
To take your mind off the image. I like that. Dan, thank you so much. This has been really cool to talk about, and I'm sure, you know, I'm excited and terrified in equal part, and everyone else is just excited, I'm sure of it.
And it's been a real pleasure to speak to you, and I can't wait to get it into people's hands.
It's going to happen.
Before we dive in, the House of Ashes, see how scared you got. Of course, we want to thank Razer for being one of the E3 2021 sponsors. Of course, giving us these tired old blades nobody cares about. But this Blade 14, RTX 3080 built right in. Of course, the Razer.
I'm taking that.
Thank you so much. No, I'm taking that.
Okay, we'll fight.
Okay, well,
We've done it before.
you know what? I'll take the hand-me-down. I'll be a little.
¿Ya? ¿Eso fue todo? ¿Todo Evo? ¿Eso fue todo?
House of Ashes. Pero bueno, para que no hayan venido así en balde.
Ya lo estaba haciendo, con su cámara.
Sí, no, es que traía el setting de otro.
Peor que Gearbox, dice Alexander.
Peor que Gearbox. Pues no, güey, porque mostraron a quien le interese. Sí. Pero en Gearbox, ¿qué rayos? Nada. Sí, sí, es lo peor Gearbox.
Mira, nada más porque no soy mala onda. Les voy a correr el trailer del Elden Ring. Ahí lo estamos viendo otra vez. Nada más para que no se vayan así tan con el estómago vacío.
Y lo mejor de esta época de conferencias y no estuvo en otro.
Y de Taka Miyazaki. God.
Sí, pues hubieran aplicado la misma que aplicaron los otros güeyes, ¿no? De ponértelo otra vez, güey. Todo.
Sí, al final. Estaba bien raro esa decisión de...
¿Que lo hice feo? Chan, chan, chan. ¿Sí ya? ¿Mostraron una sola vaina y eso fue todo el live stream en vivo?
Es hora de poner los labios. Y más si no ponemos imágenes. ¿Vale? Y más si...
Around House of Ashes. But for now, let's toss it over to the one, the only, Jackie J.
Brothers in arms, or each man for himself. Survival depends on choice.
No le creo. Ya por ahí 10 minutos, yo creo, menos. No, porque le echa la culpa a mi pobre Juan enseguida. Que basura, que lento. Que re lento, basura. Le voy a dar pata, dice. Ah, sígala a su abuelita que ya se va a ir y nada. Se quedó ahí el pastel.